I'm Tom King, and this is 4K Skywatching Podcast.
Red alert!
This is my...
Yep, that is it. Hey, I'm Tom King. This is 4K Skywatching Podcast. It's Friday night. Happy Friday, everybody. It's 6 o'clock. This is episode 28 of the podcast. I've been around the state and did a hell of a road trip and just got back, so I'm a little bit tired because we got back and I think I crashed about 3 o'clock in the morning last night. So this is going to be a fun one. There's going to be some raw footage here of what happened last night. We did a trip up to Sedona. We wanted to check out what was going on up there. If you've watched any of the Ross Coulthard's News Nation TV shows, he's done a whole series of episodes on Arizona and UFOs. He's done one of them on the Phoenix Lights. He's done one with Melinda Leslie. He's done one with a couple of other investigators there with a Navajo trooper. He's done one with the Border Patrol. There is something weird going on up there. I can't explain it. I don't know what I saw. I saw a little bit of everything last night. A lot of helicopters, a lot of satellites, Starlink, and a lot of stuff I just don't know. It's a fun trip up there. It's a little bit cooler. It's hot as hell in Phoenix. It's probably about 108 right now. So the temperature is going to go up and down from 100 to 115 and whatnot. So yeah, we're going to cover a Sedona trip tonight. We're going to look at the raw footage. We're going to look at steps that can happen after this for part 2. And we're going to talk about the next episode of the 4K Skywatching Podcast with Chris Donald. He was over here at the studio, and we had a talk, and we looked through a lot of his footage. So a lot of editing with that. That's going to come next Friday show for the 4th of July. So that's going to be one killer show. It's going to have some really good footage on there. And then later that night, after the podcast is over, I'm probably going to turn the cameras right back on about an hour later and just look around town and see what the hell is going on with fireworks. This is the radar dome camera. It's up probably about 30 feet right now. We did some construction work on this. I'll be able to see all kinds of stuff. Apparently, everything is illegal in Phoenix that explodes, and there is not going to be any shortage of those type of explosions. And every year somebody their house burns up because of that. So it's kind of a bummer. Let's see. Yeah, we went up to Sedona, and we had a tour to meet up with Melinda Leslie. and she was very, very nice. She knows what she's talking about. So she took, I think it was 10 of us out on a tour to Sedona, and she sat us down. We had chairs. She had chairs for all of us, and night vision. I think they were PSV's Generation 7, third generation issue 7 or something like that. But very, very nice binoculars. And everything she said happened. Everything. To the T. It was amazing. I've heard all kinds of stuff like, well, you're going to see this, you're going to see that, and then you sit there and you're pretty damn disappointed. Not with her. And she recognized who I was, which was kind of strange because I'm pretty low key. I'm not one of the top dogs out there on television day after day or whatever. So I'm surprised people even recognize me because I stay low key kind of on purpose. So yeah, we're gonna help her try to figure this out. Some of the stuff I'm gonna go over in a little bit later. Maybe she's already covered, but I got to kind of think about what I would do as myself and with some of the other people I work with, how we can figure this out. Because some of the stuff I saw last night, we should be able to figure this out. I don't know who or what or how, but there seems to be dozens of helicopters every night hovering over this particular area northwest of Sedona, Arizona. And we're talking a lot of gas. What in the hell are they doing out there? Whose helicopters are there? I don't know. You're going to see a number of them. Pretty well, I confirmed the same thing that Ross Coulthard did. You go out there and you are going to see a lot of satellites, but you're also going to see a hell of a lot of helicopters, which is not particularly normal because some taxpayer is paying for that. This stuff is taking place over, I would say, kind of a military range where we just don't have access to. It's a big area that isn't developed, and it's a weapon storage area. So who knows what is stored in there? That's why it's piqued my interest. I don't know if they have nuclear weapons there, but what if they do? And we're not told about it, and that's the reason there's so much activity there. So yeah, it was a pretty cool drive up. So let's take a look at that. That was a fun little trip. Got to remember when you're driving north, going to and from Flagstaff from Phoenix, there's a drop in elevation that's going to go from 5,000 feet down to like 1,000 or something in a couple of spots. And when you go down that slope, the cops are waiting for you. God damn, they almost got me. They got the guy right behind me. So here's a bit of time lapse of the journey getting out of the Phoenix Valley and going up to Sedona. 1/4 of the drive, or 1/3 of the drive, is just going through Phoenix. So if you live in the northern area of Phoenix, like Scottsdale, then Sedona isn't very far away at all. So you got to watch out. You got to watch out for those speed traps. And I didn't bring anything with me except cameras. That's all I had. It wasn't strapped. So yeah, we went up there and found a place to eat. There's not a lot of places to eat in Sedona. Kind of reminded me of Kauai. When you're there, there's not a lot to do, so you can do a lot, but everything you are going to find to eat is probably going to be expensive unless you want to eat McDonald's. So yeah, we're just about up to the Red Rocks here. Stopped and got a bite there. And then we had to go meet Melinda. Went to the wrong spot, so we had to go to this spot that you see here and wait for the other people that are going to be attending the Skywatch. And then from there, we went out to an area that she took us to. It's like a city park. And then she gave us some instructions, and everything she said happened. I hope she wasn't nervous around me, like I was judging her or something. She did a hell of a good job. She tempered your expectations, saying, "Look, you're not going to see not going to see saucers and stuff like that or structured craft. She said what you are going to see is a dozen helicopters, and you're going to see a whole bunch of other orbs or whatnot flying around. Sometimes the orbs look like helicopters on night vision. Sometimes they don't. But it was a feast for the eye. So it was a hell of a lot of fun. One thing I learned is doing this, it was absolutely perfect moon cycle last night. Last night, the moon, we had just the sliver of the moon last night. And when it went down, then we had no light at all, nothing. So it was perfect being up in Sedona, no moon. So I was thinking, if I come back, I'm going to want to come back through the same type of moon cycle. You're not going to want to go out to Sedona with a full moon because you're going to see less. Maybe it'll be better to see the helicopters or whatever, but as far as whatever's flying overhead, not as good. So moon cycles, and then when can you get off work to go up there? She said they do work on weekends, which is the military, whatever. When you start looking at the maps, it's a little bit of deduction. Whose military is this? Whose helicopters are these? They're not coming up from Luke Air Force Base. So let's go look at the media because I got a lot of it. So yeah, we went up there and then we kind of set up as a group. So what I wanted to do was set up let me tell you the gear I brought up. I brought a Nikon P1000. I brought the Owl 4K camera. I brought my Luna Optics night vision binoculars and recorded with that. I brought a 3D camera and a tripod for that. But I wasn't able to set all this up because as with all these people, if I set all that up, once it's pitch black, I didn't want people tripping and walking around if they had to get up and go to the bathroom or something and then fall over the gear. So I'm going to go back and do that with the people that I Skywatch with. And then we'll set up something different like that. So yeah, here was kind of the group setting that we had. And I'm freeze framing it. That mountain right there is the area that we were looking at. The mountain Leslie was telling us is about 5 miles away, and the ones behind about 7 miles away. So yeah, that was a good mellow thing. And Melinda Leslie did a talk. It was amazing that how much certitude she had. Like she was certain all these things are going to happen, and then they did. I was just amazed. So one thing ufology needs is more women. There's too many men in this field. Most of the demographics are men that are 50 years old, white men. We need more strong women like her. Doesn't need a man for anything. Goes out, brings out $40,000 worth of night vision equipment and just hands them out here and gives them some lessons on how to use it. This was Gen 3 night vision. I had a little bit of problem trying to use her stuff because I have a cataract in the left eye, so it's double vision, and I'm getting surgery in about 5 weeks to fix it. So I was kind of trying to look at it like that. There was a Starlink launch that happened, but it was before I had everything set up. But I did get with my iPhone, so check this out.
But that means he must have done a launch. Like that's a launch he must have done, like the last 24 hours. Yeah, like last 24 hours. That's a brand new launch.
That's cool.
So that came and it went, hey, how you doing, Dan? That Starlink came as fast as it went. It's like, where the hell is that? And then I don't know why we couldn't see it anymore. It had just launched and the sun had went down. I wasn't speeding that much. And the dash camera I have too, if I get pulled over, I can use that as evidence of what I was doing as maps with it. So like, no privacy with that particular thing. So I'm going to start with a raw footage here. So yeah, I'm going to start with this footage. This it gets better as it goes. I start looking at what's going on, and then going through different filters of the Luna Optics. I found out the green doesn't do any good, and you'll see too. The best color I'm finding with this Luna Optics is using the color. So then you have night vision with color. There is so much stuff flying around, dozens of these things flying around at the same time, that you really don't know what's what. So I'm sitting here doing the best I can, trying not to shake it. So let's get started on the raw. Let's move into the raw footage. So this is going to be, I haven't looked over this much. I just kind of assembled what I had. So let's run it.
Something is traveling. Okay, I call those jumpers, like, because sometimes even in the goggles you can only see them when they flash, and so it's like something is jumping in and out. That's what I call those jumpers. So
The late Bill Hamilton used to call. He had to wear jumpers too. That was strange.
Okay.
And he would call them the ones that you see 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 in the blinking, that they would jump kind of around. But I don't know if it was optical illusion or what he was seeing.
You were very good friends with Bill Hamilton, so was I. I was very good friends with Bill Hamilton.
Oh, I did again.
Okay, then we have a jumper going on. Where was he? Straight up?
To the left.
Like, you know the Big Dipper here in the handle of the Big Dipper?
Yes, to the left.
And then that big
was in
star
the
off of
center.
the handle about 20 degrees,
Yes,
that's
yes,
Arcturus?
Yes.
So it was over by Arcturus?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so everybody, that big orange star, that's a giant red dwarf star. That's one of those stars that's like 100,000 times bigger than our sun. But they're saying it's somewhere up in there. So if it does it again, then we have a jumper. And I usually don't bring those up till we see them, but we saw it, so there we go. Okay.
Satellite up there too.
Well, we're good. Now, I'm gonna inform you a lot about satellites tonight, and you're gonna know how to know the difference. I'll get into that. Okay. Okay, covered. And besides, once it gets later, you rule out satellites. Like once we're past 10, you're really ruling out. Okay.
Why did they stop?
What?
Oh,
You ever see a satellite? They have no lighting on it. You only see one because it's metal reflecting sunlight. When you lose that angle of sunlight, oh, hello. Well, that's one of us.
That's it. I forgot. Okay.
You rule out satellites because you don't have an angle of sunlight anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's from satellite experts. What do I know? You guys, I've taken out so many military pilots, so many satellite experts, people who work with satellites for a living. I have a friend that developed an entire satellite system. He's really my go-to person for making sure I have my facts straight. You know? And so it's all these experts over close to 15 years and 2010 tours, 2011 tours, that I've learned, this stuff. And every time I take out someone who's an expert, I learn more. Believe me, yeah, a lot of experts. About everything. Okay, and I just absorb because I try to make my tour better and better and be more and more factual for you guys. I really do. Okay, moving right along, because I want the signs to be absolutely real. Don't need to mess with anything else. Okay, moving right along. So I covered about the colors. Oh, big light. So sometimes that big light has a color. And again, big light is probably still a structured thing. It's just up too high to see the structure, or it's just too brightly lit up to see the structure. Okay. The most common color reported in signs is literally like 80%. Tom, I think you'll agree with this. About 80% of all signs reported are called amber light. That means anything gold, orange, or red, anything in that spectrum, like the color amber. The second most common color reported is blue, and the third most common color reported is green. Now, of course, if it's daytime, people can say it looked like metal, like silver or gray or aluminum, sure. But if it's or even gold tone. But sometimes at night, it's mostly reported as a color. Red. Blue has happened on about 50 of the tours, and we have seen blue now six times in the last year and a half. That's much more rare. Green had only happened on 15 tours, and then 3 weeks ago we saw green, like one night, and like 2 nights later we saw it again. And I told my clients that was the first time I'd seen green in 3 years, and we had it 2 nights apart from each other. and it was amber lights, big orange lights already moving that suddenly powered up or got brighter, and then they were suddenly green for just a second. Now sometimes we've had it green the whole time. By the way, structure craft is usually glowing one of those colors on approach. If we have a big orange, red, blue, or green light coming straight towards us, and you guys, oh my God, Melinda, what's that blue light? You'll see Melinda lose it. Thank you for laughing. And why am I losing it? Because you guys, if that continues to come towards us, you're about to see a disc or a cylinder or a boomerang or an oval. You know, you're about to have a structured craft site. And but sometimes they'll start coming towards us. We've had stuff be quarter size at arm's length, and everyone's arguing about the shape. You guys, I don't say structure unless everybody sees it. So when I say 70 structure craft, 48 tours, it meant everyone on those tours saw it. Okay. And, you know, because there's a lot of times where we'll argue about the shape, but if not everyone's seeing it, it's probably still a structured thing. I mean, if I counted all those, I'd easily have another 50 tours that we saw structure on. But I only count when everyone sees it. Because I like being able to say everyone saw it. Truth be told.
There's at least 6. I don't know what they are, helicopters or they're incoming planes from the west out that way.
Probably the helicopters, yeah.
Yeah, they're right over the ridge line.
A
And
look-
that's just in one spot. You're not exaggerating. We're talking about a dozen
no,
of
there'll
them.
be a lot. There'll be a lot. Okay, I'm going to speed this up. So, okay, I guys, give me about 15 more minutes. I'll get through everything. Okay. So, I'm getting there. I'm trying to be tighter, and I keep storytelling, and I have to keep pulling it back. So I'm sorry. Okay. So I covered about the angle light. I colored about big lights. I covered about those colors. So just to be clear, you cannot see any color in the goggles. How to see colors, if something is really big in the goggles, lower the goggles and look with your own eyes. And then after looking in the goggles, it can take your eyes a second or two to adjust. We get what we call a power up. It's purely logical. What we do is we have an object moving, suddenly will get really bright. And after they get bright, they wink out and disappear. Or they get really bright and then go dimmer, 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 and fade out. Either way, you're seeing an object leave. Leave meaning, it's disappearing. So you're left with either going interdimensional or going out of the atmosphere slowly, or going out of the atmosphere so fast you don't see it going, like I discussed earlier. But you can only see the color with your eyes, and you'll only really see it on things that are bright enough. If something starts to power up and gets like a circle around it, you guys, people go, oh my God, it's got like an orb around it. You guys, that's just lens flare. In the goggles, if you look with your eyes, it won't have that circle. In the goggles, if it's bright enough, you'll get a little circle around stuff, lens flare, okay? If you start to see it, get a little circle around it, it's going to be more than bright enough to be able to see with your own eyes. But if you wait to lower your goggles and look, well, you're going to miss it, because if they're powering up, that means they're leaving. That's why we call it a power up. It's purely logical. They get brighter and they leave, as if they're powering up to go. So if something starts to get brighter, lower your goggles, look right away. If you wait and everyone goes, oh my God, it's big, by the time you look, it'll be gone. Because they usually get bright and they either wink out, or they get bright and they fade out of view. And we will see that many times. And when they're really bright, they'll be kind of gold or orange. And as they dim, they may look red. Well, red is actually more plasma, but to the naked eye, red has a shorter focal length, so it doesn't appear as bright. Okay? But it could actually be a lot more energy, but it will appear dimmer because the gold and the yellow, or the gold and the orange appear brighter. Okay? So just know, if it's getting brighter, that means it's going to leave. So look at it quick. If someone goes, oh my God, that's bright, and you go, where? You will have already missed it, probably. Now, sometimes we get lucky and something stays very bright for a long time. Okay.
It's normal for people to come out here for a walk at night.
Yeah, people come down and walk their dogs. This is a city park. And people come to Skywatch, they get stoned. Very popular. And I have a friend that has dogs, and they bring their dogs down here and walk them a lot. That might be nice. She's one of the cashiers at one of the Yeah, her dogs even have like glowing necklaces, and they like to run down the trail. I think at night you're risky because of coyotes, but she does all times. Her dogs are pretty big, and you know, and they she says they're trained. They stay with her. You know, she and her husband will walk with them. But people come out here at night all the time. You know, Sedona's real safe. You know, I don't really recommend doing our trails at night, even with a good flashlight, because they're so rocky. You know, and it's so treacherous. But some people even go out and hike at night. They kind of do, but they do it all the time, so they're used to it, and they stick to certain trails that they're used to. But it's and there could be critters, there can be animals of all types. To most animals, we're stinky and noisy, and we're not their food source, you know. And the coyotes are going to leave you alone unless you're a poodle or a Lapso have some. But most importantly, they will all have a triple blink pattern. So just know when you start looking with the goggles, all those things with a mechanical triple blink pattern, which will be a lot, those are all military helicopters. Okay. Category 3, shooting stars or meteorites entering the atmosphere burning up. Because they're a rock on fire, they disintegrate right away, so they go like a streak. Or if they're big enough rock, they'll have a big tail. A streak or a tail is a shooting star. If you see something go really fast, no streak, no tail, and it's not a shooting star. You're having a fast UFO sign. How do you know? Well, it's not burning up, disintegrating, entering the atmosphere. Something keeps going and going. And I always tell people, you guys, if we get a really fast one, keep your eyes glued to it, because we've had stuff streaking fast, suddenly make a hard right angle turn, or streaking really fast and suddenly zigzag. And you don't want to miss it if that happens. So I've learned, if you got a fast one, keep your eyes on it till it disappears completely. Okay, category 4, last but not least, satellites. Everything I'm about to tell you about satellites, I've learned from people who work with them for a living and my friend who owns a satellite company. There's about 12,000 satellites circling the planet. 98% of those are above 300 and 400,000 feet up and are not visible with the naked eye or with the goggles. The ones you can see are called Earth atmospheric low orbital satellites. Those are satellites in Earth's atmosphere, and they're communication satellites. Normally, the most you would see right over northern Arizona in a 2-hour window time is about 10. With one big exception, that's Elon Musk's SpaceX Corporation, the Starlink satellite. But I'm going to put those in a basket. I'll get right back to those. Satellites are on fixed trajectories. They're launched by a rocket, but once they're launched, the rocket falls away, and then they're just a jagged piece of machinery in a fixed orbit. They go one speed, very slow from horizon to horizon. They have no engines, no thrusters, no fuel. They have tiny little batteries and little solar panels to constantly, recharge those batteries. And their batteries are 12 times less powerful than your car battery, according to the satellite experts I've taken out. And the only reason you ever see a satellite is it's metal reflecting sunlight. And because of that, you have a limited window of time after sunset, before sunrise, where you can see them. So there's at least a 3 or 4 hour window in the middle where you can't. Okay? Or it's very you can't. There is no angle of sunlight at that point. The sunlight's on your side of the planet, and the shadow of the Earth extends way out into space. And again, you're only seeing things in our atmosphere, so all you need is that shadow in the atmosphere, and you won't see satellites. Okay. Now, satellites are launched by rocket. Once the rocket falls away, they're on a fixed trajectory. They're just a jagged piece of machinery locked in a fixed orbit, and they will go all the way across the sky one speed and fade out of view low in the sky. They have no engines, thrusters, or fuel, so anything pushing away from Earth's gravity isn't a satellite. They have no engines, thrusters, or fuel, so if something speeds up, not a satellite. Satellites have no brakes. They have no way to change up their orbit, so if something slows down or stops, not a satellite. And they have no ability to turn. If something makes an arcing turn, a U-turn, a right angle turn, meanders, wobbles, what my clients always say, looks like a drunk driver. They kind of meander. Not a satellite. They can't do any of those things. Last but not least, we do not launch satellites in orbits together with one major exception. Pull that basket back out, right? Elon Musk's SpaceX Corporation Starlink satellites. The least amount of satellites he's put in a single rocket is 20. The most he's put in a single rocket is 100. And to the best of my knowledge, I'm pretty sure this is accurate, in the last 3 years, every launch has been between 20 and 30 satellites in a rocket. They come out linked up like a chain, the rocket falls away, and then they start to uncouple and spread out. if you've ever seen what looks like a string of pearls glowing in the sky, any of you here seen that? Yeah, then you saw starlight. And that was within 48 hours of a launch. So within 48 hours of launch, it looked like a string of pearls. Then they start to circle the planet a bunch, and then they start to spread out. And after they've been up about a week, something like that, 7, 8 days, they're 3 or 4 inches apart at arm's length. My understanding is now SpaceX, is coating them so they're no longer reflective at a higher altitude. Thank God. Thank God. Astronomers complain, and so they're coating them so they're not reflected. So you're only seeing them when they're really low in the atmosphere. And then when they get up to the higher altitude where they're ultimately positioned to create a Wi-Fi grid for the whole planet, they're no longer visible. So you're only going to see them for like the first week that they're up. Luckily, here's the real kicker. They've never put less than 20 in a row. So every row is going to have 20. Even if they're spread out 3 or 4 inches apart, you keep counting them coming in a line, they'll still be more than 20. So if you ever get more than 20 things in a row, it's probably started. Okay? But luckily, no one else is doing it. And his are in these long rows. So if you get a tight cluster of 3, 4, 6, 8, 10 things in a group, and they're as we get later now, anything you see moving. Okay, now we got a lot of things up here moving. Watch them to see what they're going to do. Below the Big Dipper, about 3 inches at arm's length, there's kind of two, no, those are different trajectories. I was about to say formation, but they're moving. Okay, and then above Bear Mountain, about 3 inches, a little bit to the left, coming over. Oh, and then there's a guy powering up. Now that guy above Bear is getting brighter.
I did just see that.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I thought I got everyone, I'm sorry. My apologies. Now, there's a lot moving. We got a lot of things moving.
You know, half an inch above.
Now that pair's a little dimmer. Are you here with someone else? I was gonna say, yeah, but because trade off with each other. That pair might have its tube going bad. If I replace the tube, that'll be 2,700. So I'm trying not to do that. But that one is a little darker. They work, but they're just not quite as bright. But these are a lot brighter. So everybody can kind of trade off. I'm sorry, you guys, but after having pairs for 15 years. And then what makes them go bad is someone looking at a really bright light. In fact, if you have little black spots in the goggles, that's from looking at, like, flash photography, flashlights, car headlights, and taillights are all goggle death. And it can cause those spots or burn out the whole tube. But that one might have, okay, there's a guy powered up, straight up from Bear, about at arm's length. Oh, shooting star. Yeah, now this other guy who powered up is dimming, so he's starting to leave. And he was about 4 or 5 inches above Bear. We got military out there, you can see them triple blinking.
Yeah.
And then there's other things moving. Okay, there's a triangle formation right above Bear, only about 2 inches up, right above where that one is blinking. You can see there's 3 things in a triangle. Straight above that guy blinking, about 1 inch above it. Now we got a big guy powering up higher. But to the right of the one powering up, between it and the plane, and a little bit to the right, there's 3 things moving together. They've been in a perfect triangle.
Oh, I see it. Man, you got a lot coming together, like right above these trees, right? Close to the mountain. Maybe about like an inch.
Yeah, at arm's length. So you put your thumb on the mountain and measure up with your fingers. And he's at, now they're about 3 inches above.
And we had a triangle?
There were 3 things in a triangle formation.
Right. Here.
But then I think they dimmed or they pulled apart. But they were holding for a little while before they pulled apart. Okay, now occasionally look up by the Big Dipper. You'll see stuff. And then anywhere between the Big Dipper and lower. And we're getting a lot of things down by the hills, which is a good sign, and a fair amount of military. Now, in a moment, I'm going to stand up and see how many military we have in the area. But above Bear Mountain, and you can get your goggles in focus. Whoop. Now, you guys, car headlights and tail lights are goggle death. Make sure you're looking up and away. Don't let your goggles face that if you can. And even if you're just holding them, you got to cover the end of the lens with your hand if you're just holding them. Okay, now who hasn't had goggles yet? Because I want to hand you these to look. Who hasn't had goggles? Somebody? I know 2 people don't have goggles.
Yeah, we're sharing.
Well, here, look at these. Come over here and grab these. Okay, come towards me. There you go. There you go. Okay, because I can forfeit. Now, everybody, though, if you have goggles, help me find stuff that's moving. And how do you know these aren't satellites? Because people always wonder that. Well, the real way to know, first off, it's after 10, so, and we just saw right here over to the right, Starlink disappear. So we know right there, they're low in the sky, thicker in that shadow. So as it gets later, that shadow is constantly moving across the sky. So it's like, okay, we're losing an angle of sunlight. So now, from pretty much now on, we're seeing things that are self-luminous.
Does someone need goggles?
Does someone need goggles? One person doesn't have them. Who doesn't have goggles? You guys, who doesn't have goggles? Speak up. Okay. Did we lose somebody? Did someone leave? Because I know right now there'd be one other person without goggles. Do you guys both have goggles? How about over here? Does everybody have goggles? Everybody? Did you bring some? Oh. I don't know how. You guys, there's 10 of us. There's got to be 2 people without goggles. Well, here, I'll look if there's no other taker.
I have a placeholder question for you and Tom about how to reconcile what we're seeing with Skywatcher and how to reconcile that with what Chris Bledsoe's
coming down on the.
Yeah. Well, Chris Bledsoe is mostly getting orb phenomena.
Yeah, he sure is. Yeah.
But he's having some higher up signs too, so I think he's having a combination. Yeah, long story short.
Most of the stuff I see isn't this far away.
But the daytime stuff, is it similar to what they're seeing with Skywatcher? With
They're
just
getting structured craft. They're getting structured
yeah,
craft.
that's
So they're
crazy stuff. I know.
they're using a technology they call a dog whistle.
Yeah.
They're doing this thing that sends some kind of EMF or something out, and they feel that's pulling them in. And then that, and they're also using trained like psychics to see them and pull
Let me
them in
see
as well.
what you got. You can
So
look
they're
at
using
this.
psychics and technology.
They're like right.
I have
They're like
a skill too. It's called dumb luck and persistence.
Yeah.
I have
There's a
endless
bunch.
supply.
Look, no,
Yeah,
over
yeah.
here. No, there was like,
Of dumb luck
4,
and
8 of them,
persistence.
like over, and they were moving over this way all
Well, I
together.
have UFO hotspot, underground base, and persistence. And dumb luck. So I've
There
got
they all
4
are.
things working for me.
These are
And
much better
psychic.
than
So
those
I
that
got 5 things working for me.
There's a bunch of them moving together.
Yeah, there's a bunch moving together. On the right over here? Yeah, how you put your hand on the hills. You can see enchantment all lit up. So you can say above enchantment, how many inches, at arm's length.
That's just nuts. Who is well? Okay, we're
Okay,
paying
there's
for
2
these
together.
helicopters, but
Right up from Bear Mountain, about 4 or 5 inches. I saw 2 together. One above the other.
Yeah, no, they're stopped now.
Well, the ones I see are moving, but that's all right. Hey, we're getting lots, We're seeing lots and lots. And again, between Bear Mountain, from the horizon up to the Dipper, and then a little bit over to the right. So I would say, going about from the Big Dipper over to about a foot over to the right. And again, that whole area all the way down to the horizon. Now, again, you can look, sometimes people look other directions and see them too. It's just the payoff is we're having so much right here.
What are they doing? Just cruising around, sightseeing?
Well, I mean, when they start coming and going from behind the hills, then they're coming and going from the base. So, and we see that a lot. Hopefully we'll see it tonight. Some nights they don't come and go from behind the hills, and some nights they do. So we'll see. A lot of helicopters, yeah. So I'll count how many helicopters. These goggles are really dimming. I think I have a tube going bad. Darn it. Darn. They're almost not Oh, two big power-ups. Straight up from Bear Mountain. Those are huge. In fact, when they get real, you take naked eye signs. You can see both those with your naked eyes. Right above Bear Mountain. There's two giant ones all lit up. I mean, the goggles are huge, but
Yeah,
I could see them with my naked eyes.
without goggles right now.
well, now they're dimming.
gone.
Now they're dimming. Yeah, now they're dimming. So you'll still be able to see them with the goggles. But for a moment, they were really, really bright. For about, couple seconds there. Like 10 seconds, they were really bright. Again, that's why I keep telling people, look above Bear Mountain, all the way up to the Dipper, all the way down. Just keep looking in that area. That's when it is. There's a powered up one right there. You can see with your naked eye.
Right down.
Yeah, there's a powered up one. He's about 4 inches, 5 inches above Bear Mountain. Giant power up right there. Everybody can see that, right? Focus your goggles if you need to. Yes, you need to get your goggles. Now he's dimming. Yeah, but I lost him to my eyes. That's a giant housing tract. That's a gated community, multi-million-dollar homes. That's real close. That's only like 5 minutes away.
Okay, so even though I can't see him with my I can't see those lights without.
Well, your goggles are increasing light by 50,000 times. 50,000 times. That's why we use the night vision. If you're seeing 50,000 times more stars, you can see with your naked eye.
Do you want to check out my binoculars here, Melinda?
Are you using binoculars?
I'm using, I don't know where you
Now here's another guy powered up above there. Oh, wow.
No, you might have to adjust the eyepiece.
Yeah, I don't know how to focus because I'm not.
Start with your left and right eyepieces next to your eyes,
Yeah?
and get the screen focused.
Do you turn these?
You're gonna turn the one.
Oh, okay. I can see those lights, the housing
You're
track.
gonna want to see the screen so you can read the 2025 print good. Then once you're done, over on the right side.
Yeah, I can see the print good.
Once you can see the print grid, over on the right side, there's going to be, at the very end, a focus.
Okay.
And then the other side's a laser range.
Wait,
finder.
put your hand where the focus is. I'll feel it.
Right here.
Right here? Oh, okay.
With your naked eye?
And that'll focus your distance. So this does.
These are good.
240. Yeah, they cycle through color.
Now, I
night
just
vision.
lost. Oh, there. Okay. And how much are they increasing distance?
That's the default on that is 6x, and then it can
Okay.
go to, I think, 24.
Because that housing tract is real obvious. That's a good way to find your bearing. Okay, that's the housing tract. So where's the top of the mountain? Okay, sorry. Here, I'll come back. Those are good. I'm not seeing that many things moving. I did see some of the military. But I'm sure if we got it one powering up like this at all the military, my goodness.
There's one moving.
I
Lots of
see one
military.
moving too.
Yeah, it was super bright a minute ago.
Yeah, and again, look at, now there's a guy right below the Big Dipper going up. There's a couple others in that area moving. About to pass into the Big Dipper bowl right there. There it is. And every time we point all these out, everybody should see what we're seeing. If you're not, either your vision's just not good enough, A, or B, the goggles need to be focused. And
Are you saying I don't use lasers on these things?
yeah, because we have so much military around,
Okay.
I don't want to risk hitting the military.
Well, what we do where we're at is when we can see stuff put up, we know they're not airplanes and stuff.
Well, as long as they're not blinking.
Yeah, we really think
And
twice.
okay, now there's a guy powering up about 5 inches above Bear Mountain at arm's length.
Oh, yeah.
He's huge.
And then once we do laser something, if anything bad happens, you throw the laser at the guy with the least amount of bail money, and you say it was him.
So that's the same place that other one powered up a second ago.
You point at the person with the least amount of bail.
It was bright enough to see.
Well, they have to have a laser pointer on somebody,
Yeah.
for evidence. But we've never been that reckless.
Suddenly that person has 5 of them.
Yeah, hey, it's
He has
him.
all the lasers, not us.
It's him, the skeptic. He did it. Mick West has the laser.
Yeah.
Take him
yeah.
away.
Yeah, everybody hang your lasers to Mick.
Yeah.
Is he like annoying or strikes you as he's not always wrong.
Sometimes he's right, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what makes him really annoying, because sometimes he's right, but he can be really wrong. He, after Ross was on Jesse Michaels, down in the comments, Mick West chimes in with, "There's no base in Sedona, blah, blah, blah," and I just like, oh my God.
Who's paying for all these helicopters? I mean, the taxpayers are, but why are they there every night?
And I'm gonna send Mick a link to the lectures we did.
Now,
if he saw all our evidence,
do the helicopters come out on
realize
weekends?
how wrong he is, because we present good, strong physical evidence. Look at all the helicopters. My goodness.
Do you see these choppers up on weekends?
Now, yes, yeah, no, this never stops. Now there's a helicopter right above a guy moving over there. Let me see, is that moving or is that stuck? No, slowly going up. I think that helicopter's escorting one going up over there.
Because in the gunnery range, they don't work on the weekends.
Yeah, no, we see it all the time out there. All the time. I should count how many helicopters are in the area. And a few jets, too. Okay, I'll count how many military we've got in the area. A slow time would be 10. Remember, this used to like be 0. So slow time would be 10. And if we get over 15 at a time, I know it's going to be a good night. If we get over 20, we're going to have a hell of a night. And if I start hitting like 30, fasten your seatbelt. Something major is going to happen. The highest count I've had in the last year and a half of stopping at one time and seeing how many military in there, the highest count is 38. And I've never had a night less than 10 since this new activity.
So it's 10:34 and my clock says 6, so I'm off by 4 hours again. I own so much equipment I can never keep the time straight on everything.
Yeah, yeah. Well, people always say to me, "Why don't you film?" You can see I'm so busy with my clients, I don't get a chance to. But I have people and I have friends in the area that will come often with me and film. So we do have stuff on camera, some really good stuff too. And News Nation caught some good stuff, but then didn't show it in the program. And I'm like, Ross, they didn't show the best stuff, but he has nothing to do with the editing.
Yeah.
Production.
Yeah, people always think the host personally sits there and edits the show.
No, he has no control, and he's like, look, and the location producers are like, we gave it to them, so you have no control over what actually
There's
airs.
another escort right there.
Yeah. There's something right above the mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, there's a guy powering it, for sure.
Yeah, that's getting really bright. Same place that they.
Yeah.
You can see it with your naked eye.
Yeah. And then we get the amber light, get that orange.
Yeah.
And that helicopter's been pacing it, kind of. Sometimes what we get is you'll see a helicopter come up behind, and you guys, we're at like 45,000 feet. Those Bear Mountain's at like 6,000 feet. And on the other side of that, Sycamore Canyon, a couple more miles back, but it has a lower elevation. And so they could be going up thousands of feet before we see them pop up behind the hills. But we have had military pop up behind the hills, followed by the big amber lights, craft, again, structure craft, but with a big plasma field. And then we'll see more military helicopters come up behind it. When Ross and his crew of 10 were out with me, a couple weeks later, one of the location producer actually called me and said, Melinda, I've been meaning to tell you, we stayed up all night after we filmed with you, and I said, you guys were with me past 2. I said, you must have gotten back to your hotel close to 2:30. He goes, yeah, about 2:30. And he said, we're about an hour putting equipment away. I was like, oh my God. He said, the whole crew, everyone but Ross, piled into his hotel room. I said, there's like 10 people. He goes, yep. Everyone piled in his hotel room. And he said, we were reviewing the footage, and we caught military helicopters escorting these things repeatedly, because they were able to zoom in. I said, when you zoomed in, were you getting the structure of the craft? They said, no, it was just a bigger light. We weren't zooming in that much. But he said, when we zoomed in, what we could see clearer were the helicopters. And he said, they were Blackhawks. And he said, they were escorting these things repeatedly. Where escorting them soon. It just as they come and go. So the objects would come up behind the hills with military escorting them, and then the objects would suddenly power up and take off. Or they would pop in the sky, start to come down, and the helicopters would go up and circle around them, and then be with them till they came down.
That's what I saw.
Okay, we got. Oh, some guy just came up behind the mountain. He was little. Oh, maybe there's two right there. Or is that a star? Hang on.
I'm not seeing that move yet.
Yeah, it might be a star. I thought something popped up, but no, I think it's a star. But we got the one military right there, obviously, and then a couple more military. I'm gonna go to the left. Okay, I was gonna do a count.
There's probably about a dozen.
Now, does everybody have goggles right now?
We're sharing.
Or there's one person without? Well, here, you can use these every once in a while. These are a lot dimmer, though, but I don't need to look. But you can still... Well, here, then you need a break for a little while? Only if your arms need a break. Oh, these are dimmer. Well, use hers, they're better. They're better. Mine are a little bit dim. I'm seeing with these, but they're not quite as bright. Like I said, unfortunately, I think I have a tube going bad. Darn it.
I thought you had these for sale online.
No, at one time, yes, because I had a guy that I immediately put people in touch with, Alec Hoffman, of Hoffman's Optics, but he's retired. Now, I got to see if Nick is reliable, to see if I can start sending people to Nick. But what I do send people to now, if they ask me, is Ben Hansen, who's very reliable. And his stuff comes with Ben Hansen's a TV personality. Oh, there's a big power up. Oh yeah, great big one. Straight up from Bear, can't miss it. About 5-6 inches in arm's length. Yeah, he's huge. And you can see him with your naked eye. Big amber light. Very clearly. Yeah, big amber light. He's huge. Now, yeah, well, Bear's the big tall mountain. He's up to the right. He's almost passing over now where Enchantment's got the cliffs lit up.
Hey, Melinda.
He's dimming. Yes?
This.
Oh, here, yeah. 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 Oh, that's the battery compartment.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you guys, the rubber eye guards, leave those extended out. The little corners should wrap around the side of your face. It keeps your eyes from drying out. And also keeps side light out. But out here, it's mostly good for keeping your eyes from drying out. Particularly if we get it's no wind tonight, but we're letting in. Yeah, this is getting threadbare, so. No? This one pair of this cap is a problem. It's getting threadbare. There we go. Oh, nope. I had it on. It still popped off. There we go. This goggle, the right eye works a little better.
Okay.
There's a big power up right above Bear. In fact, he came up. He came up behind the hill,
I
powered
see
up.
it with the naked eye.
Yeah, he's big.
You see him moving across from left to right.
Okay. Now these work pretty good. The left eye's okay, but the right eye is better. So if it starts bugging you, then
I
just
can
use the
shut my
right eye.
left.
Yeah. You guys, all the goggles have one lens in the front, and they have a little mirror splitting the image. The mirror must have gotten cracked or something that's throwing the left eye just off a little bit in those.
Oh, this is good.
But I'll keep using those. And I have two pairs at home that have very bad broken focus, and this one I think has a tube going bad. But I might just send the other two pairs, wait till I get them back, and then send this one. Okay, now there's two things moving right above Bear. Oh, a guy just popped up, powered up.
Oh, I see that.
Oh,
Amazing.
yeah, nice.
That is amazing.
Yeah, he came up from the base. That's nice. And then the guy above him's powering up.
Wow. Holy crap. You see that?
That's crazy.
Yeah, he powered up
Another
and
one's
then
kinda
dimmed, but that means
drifting
he's
down.
leaving. And then the other guy's powered up, now he's starting to dim. Sometimes you guys will get 3 or 4 coming up at once, powered up. And, you know, and we caught on camera 3 giant amber lights came up behind from the base, came up from up down below, right as 3 came down and powered up as they came in, and they were coming down behind the hill powered up as the other 3. So we had 3 big amber lights going up and 3 coming down, crossing each other right at the edge of the hill, and we caught it on video. It was so good. I show that in my presentations. And now higher up, about 5, 6 inches up, is a guy powered up.
Yeah, he's pretty big. He's got one
Right
small
below
one
him.
underneath
Yeah.
it.
Little guy right under him. I saw that. That's a formation. There's 2 together. Yeah, he's got one right under.
It's like he's straight.
One right under. And sometimes one will power up and go, and then the other one, if they're flying together, then the second one might power up after he does, following him out. And then up from there, there's another one powered up right above. Oh, no, the car headlights, bats and bugs will light up in a car headlight. So if you're getting something blurry darting all over and there's any car headlight around, it's a bat or a bug. Yeah, car headlights light up critters. That guy's powered up. But it's so cool, you guys, to have one powered up come behind the base. Hopefully we'll get more of those now. That's a good sign. And what's real interesting, sometimes those will come straight up, and these craft do it within seconds, easily. Yep, absolutely. I have seen, I didn't see it come out of the ocean, but one time off of Palos Verdes, and a guy who worked security out there would let us know when he was seeing this a lot. He was seeing them come and go from the water. And we went out one night and we saw these objects come out from like where Catalina was under the water going so fast. And then they would follow the, oh, there's a big power up. He's amber. Yep, there he is.
Same spot.
Yeah, that spot is very,
They're all coming from right there. So Catalina's supposed to be where they have the underwater base.
Underwater underground base off of the backside of Catalina, yep. And we've seen stuff underwater moving so fast, giant lit up things under the surface moving really fast. Nothing does that. Even phosphorescence doesn't travel a perfect circle really fast. And these were coming from Catalina into the coast, like I'm moving along the coast and shooting back out to Catalina, and it was just so mind-blowing. I had actually, just so you guys know, I'm psychic and I also am a trained remote viewer. I remote viewed that base, and I was sitting with people
There's
at a park.
4 traveling together.
Oh,
Sorry, Melinda.
Okay, yeah, no, this is good. Sighting's
1,
more important.
2, 3, 4.
I thought that was something. I was just like,
It's about 3 inches
above.
below
Below
the dipper, and
yeah.
moving to the east.
You guys are way up there? Man, I'm following half a dozen of them right over the ridge line.
Yeah. Well, we're getting them in both places.
Yeah.
That's
Now,
why I
these
tell
guys
people
are taking
around the
off.
Big Dipper, all the way to the rise and all the way up, because you'll get them all throughout that whole area.
Those guys are taking off now.
Yeah, this is
Another
like
one coming
ants.
in.
Yeah. That is so crazy. Yeah, that was a formation. Like I said, we've been getting 4, 5, 6, up to 8 in formation a lot lately. A lot. And they'll hold it for a while. I mean, if they really maintain that distance between them for a while, then, then it's a formation. Okay, here's a guy powered up in that same area again. I keep glancing down by the hill because I keep hoping I'm going to see another guy pop up. This guy powered up a little earlier than, he did a little more to the left. Oh, shooting star. A couple things moved. Oh, I never did a military count. Well, if anything, it's dropped a little, but let me see how many we got in here. Anybody know what time it is? Okay, well, we can view till about 11:30 if people want to stay, because I think, as I said, the earliest in the year and a half that it's peaked is like 8:15. The latest peaked is 2 in the morning. But we've also had it peak, you know, like in the summer, I kept keeping people out till midnight because it was peaking close to midnight. This may be that time where it's starting to like peak a little later. And so,
This really helps with the moon cycle tonight.
yeah. Oh yeah, because with that moon going below the horizon, we have a really nice dark sky. Yeah, absolutely. Now there's a guy going up, another guy going to the right. Occasionally we get him going to the left. Nothing coming up behind there. No, but I was excited when that happened earlier. I was hoping we were going to get more of that. That guy came up from the base. He came out from the lift platform. Where he would have come up, that would have been like the back end of Sycamore Canyon back there. And it's probably quite a bit back. Like, I don't know. I'd have to have one of the whistleblowers show me where it is on Google Earth and then do a pin drop from here. But my guess is it's probably about 10 miles back from right where we're sitting. I think I put it off as standing
There's
in
two.
my legs.
Do you see above the tree? Yeah, there are quite a few kind of like not. They're out there ways.
Oh, here's a guy powering up. Did he come up
Yeah,
from behind the hill?
yeah.
Did he come up? Did he come up from behind the hill?
I don't know.
I bet
I
he
didn't catch
did.
it,
I don't
but he's
think so.
bright.
Because he's going up. I wondered if he popped up from behind the hill. Because he's definitely going up. But I wasn't looking, so I didn't see.
I didn't see him come up the hill. I saw him come from like the left.
But now he's going up, so if he came from the left, that means he made a turn. If he came from the left, and now he's going straight up, that requires a hard right angle turn. Did he do that?
I
If he was,
saw him coming from the left.
okay, if he came from the left, now he's going up, so he made a turn. Now here's a guy going to the right. See, people see, this guy wants to make a right angle turn. They see it happen and they don't realize because they think it's going to be something really fast. But if you go, wait, something's going diagonally from the left and then it's going vertically up, that requires a turn. And our jets and stuff take a huge amount of arcing space to accomplish that.
I don't know. It's like that they're.
Now
It's like they're
helicopters can
practicing.
do it, but they're not going to be moving as
no.
fast as these are. You know, helicopters will, can move that way.
So many helicopters.
Yeah, there's a lot
These
of
guys,
helicopters.
they keep coming
There's more
in
helicopters
from
coming in from the right, yeah.
over here on the left.
Oh, on the left?
Yeah,
Because I've
they-
seen a bunch come in from the north on the right too. So,
Oh, is
So
that
they're-
one coming up on the right over here? It's right on the ridge.
yeah, there's a lot of helicopters.
I don't know if
Okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm
I
gonna do
think
a count.
that's just a.
Okay.
that's the one on the top of the ridge.
Yeah.
How many helicopters? How many military have we got? Oh, we got a bunch over here. Okay, one, two, three, four,
It's just they're coming in from somewhere out there
five,
under the Big Dipper. You know what I mean?
6, 7, 8, 9,
That one's naked.
10,
There. See it?
11, 12, 13, 14,
No, there's
15,
more kind of underneath it, and then-
16, 17. Okay, so we've got 17 military in the area right now. It's a good sign. That means things are picking up. And if we start hitting over 20,
That
you
one
know
just-
it's going to
that
be
one
good.
just started off.
But that's because right now we have about 17 military in the area. So if someone says, Melinda, I think there's more military, I'll jump up and do another count.
I think there's more military.
You're not funny. No, I'm just kidding.
There's
I was already standing.
there's software that'll count this for you.
Yeah.
But it would be hard to get them all in
People
one
have said,
shot.
oh, use this program and that program, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, come here and do it. Because when you see me with my clients, I got too much going on. So I tell people, yeah, bring all that stuff, please.
I'm going to come back here with my beast camera system.
Please, Tom.
That has a pan and tilt system
Please,
with a 50-pound payload capacity on it.
please, come back. Absolutely.
Helicopters are
If you want to come for a couple days, I got a nice sofa bed
Huh.
to hang out at my place.
They're all kind of.
If you want to come do it for a couple days or no.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Because, you know, I never know what we're going to get. One
Yeah.
night can be slower, one night can be out the hook.
That's how it is. I mean,
And then
people
we get
think I can
construction
clap my
crowd.
hands and they show up, and it's like, it's just, you got to put the time in.
Yeah. And people are like, well, why are you filming this? Oh,
There's a double.
there's a
right there.
double. Two things were powered up now, one dimmed. But I glanced over there and I saw two big bright things with my naked eye. On the right. Okay, I'm going to get a sweatshirt out of the car. Does anyone need blankets? Speak up if you do.
I'll take one.
Okay, because I know the temperature's dropping. I'll bring a couple. It'll just keep dropping, so I'll bring a couple.
Does anyone need a goggle?
I'm recording all this.
Are you really good?
Have you been recording, Todd?
Yeah, I've probably got about 30 minutes or so. These are color night vision binoculars.
Well, those times we get
It's like-
multiple power-ups, those will be good on.
Like they're coming in from there. Like they're coming in from the distance and coming towards us and then hanging right. Well, yeah, they could be coming through something. It's like they're flying sorties
That's what I'm looking at too.
straight ahead.
Straight ahead, like above the.
Yeah. But with the goggles, it looks huge, right? Yeah. But it has a halo around it.
Oh, it does.
West a little bit. What's the mountain that's?
Well,
No.
Black Mountain, that is a helicopter.
Oh, you're right. You're
Now-
right. You're right. That's just looking like it's coming.
Yeah, because
It's coming
I think
towards
to
us.
my naked eye, it's blinking red and white.
Yeah.
When they blink red and white, that'll
There
be
you
a
go.
helicopter.
Too excited.
We're all the oxygen. But it means he's right over the entrance to Sycamore Canyon, so his location is very telling. Okay. Who was the first person who said, I want a blanket?
I'd like one. I don't know.
This is a really good, snuggly one.
Yep, I'll take it. I'll grab it. You grab it.
Okay, here, I'll come meet you. There you go. Got it?
Yep, thank you.
There you go. Who needs another one? Anybody need one? Somebody said yeah? No? Okay. I got a couple more here. So I'm gonna put them on the back of my chair. They're right here, so just either come grab one or holla. Okay, that's a nice, real warm little one. And I have these two. Oh, I pulled them apart. I had sparks. Oh, look at that. See that light up? The static.
Like your star
The
days.
static, you see the sparks.
I know.
The night vision, that drives me very dramatic. Fireworks.
Do you see like this light?
I guess I just brought three. I thought I brought four, but
You guys are pretty bright now.
I guess I dropped one.
I mean, some nights we can see a little bit. My sister lives in Bend. And you can see like this because they're in
And that helicopter's just been sitting there a long time.
maybe they're waiting for something.
Maybe. Oh, there's a guy powering
Oh,
up. There's
there he
Amber
is.
Light
Yeah,
over Bear.
over there.
Same place between Bear and Chapman.
It's pretty bright. You see his eyes.
Yeah, I mean, it's a mix of man-made and a mix
Look
of
at all
God
the-
knows
look at
what
all the
else.
Military to the left of Bear. My God.
Yeah, they're just.
Yeah, they're waiting. Maybe
sparkles.
something is about to pop up.
So Enchantment has the light on the.
No. Enchantment's where, that's a house, okay, right below Bear, that is a gated community of
Yep.
multi-million-dollar homes. They
Yep.
started like 5 million and go up sharply from there. That's called the Airy community. That's
Got
a
it.
gated community. To the right, where you can see it all glowing with your own eyes,
Yeah.
and then with the night vision, that's Enchantment, where they have
Okay.
the spotlights lighting up the Red Rocks,
yeah,
because they
okay.
have 2 restaurants and a bar, and so their guests can see the Red Rocks at night. And that's the entrance to Boynton Canyon Enchantment Resort. If we see something pop up behind the hill where Enchantment is, or to the right of it, that'd be the back end of Secret Canyon. If we see it pop up closer to Bear, that's more likely to be the back end of Sycamore Canyon. If it pops up to the way over to the left, oh gosh, there's a lot of military over there. On the
Yeah,
left.
right? Big.
When I look over there at the
They're pretty
goggles,
close.
it's a bunch. Hovering. I'm ready. Oh, stuff moving up higher. Usually below the dipper, to the right of the Big Dipper, we have an area there that's really busy. That's where we keep getting formations of large amounts.
Bunches of them. I can't even count them.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah, and
watching-
often they're formations
it's like
of
watching a stream go
3,
by.
4, up to
And
about
like,
8. You know, we've had a lot of that lately. And you guys, those kind of formations used to be like, you know, 1 in 10 or 1 in 20 tours. And now we're just getting, like, we're almost bored by we're getting so many now. Well, according to John Ramirez, when we see this out here, it's the beginning of what's going to be these mass sightings going on in, you know, in 2027. I have no idea if that's true.
I think it is. If you follow Bashard,
Yeah,
follow
yeah,
Bashard,
he's saying the same thing. Yeah.
There's 1, 2.
Oh,
Wow, that was
That
cool.
was a long one.
now you guys,
Shooting star, right?
hang on. Not only rock on fire, so they disappear right away. 'cause
There's
they're rock
5
on fire.
moving together, 6 moving together.
Okay, where are these now?
If you
Up by the Dipper. Oh
the
yeah,
dipper
yeah.
to the right of the
Yeah,
dipper, a
below
little
the
bit
Big
lower.
Dipper, about
2
4 or
inches.
5 inches, and moving to the right. Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, there's a
tons of
formation.
6,
Yep, they're hanging
7,
together.
8.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep, there's a
one
bunch
shot
moving
off.
together. Yep. Nice. Nice formation. I'm seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that are holding
Yeah,
same direction,
still.
same speed, same distance, holding it. There was a guy that crossed them going down. So,
Yeah.
oh, now here's a bright one going down behind that. It's a bright guy, big, powered up, getting brighter, and he's about to cross too, going to the right. Big and crash. Boom. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, the other guy fired up. Oh, maybe he flashed at him. You see that? The guy under him flashed, like maybe it was going, "Hey Joe, hey Joe." You know,
It's going right at him. It looks like it's going. Oh my gosh. It looks like they were gonna crash.
oh, there's a power up down lower too.
2 of them.
Yeah. Now the guy in back starting to power up.
There's a double that's moving
And there's a guy coming down.
to the east.
Now, what's interesting when we see them come down is to see if they go all the way behind the hill. Sometimes we watch them coming in.
It's like he's floating down almost.
Yep.
Slowing down.
Yeah, speed hasn't seemed real consistent.
It's kind of wiggly too.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, like he just zigzagged. Yep. Oh. What's that bright flash? Anybody else see that? To the right somewhere was a bright flash. Sometimes, I usually don't bring this up till we see it. Now, knowing that there's nothing back there, like 8 by 20 miles, nothing but rugged mountain wilderness, sometimes all of a sudden, like a giant bank of spotlights will come on that are obviously way back in the canyons. And I tell people the only way you have a bank of spotlights back there is you're either dropping in from the sky or bringing them up underground because there's no roads or structures or anything. And some nights, a giant light will come on and like pan across the sky. And I tell my clients, that's like 5 to 10 miles away. It would have to be just a massive spotlight to be panning across the sky. And it's so freaky when we see it. We one time hiked out on what I call the ridge between
We got 4 of
Casner
them.
Mountain, the Dome Mountain, and the big flat one called Black Mountain, where those other 2 little hills, like I said, are 10, 12 miles away. We went up, there's a ridge there that we went up and hiked one night as a team so we could, because we thought stuff was coming up behind Casner from Secret Canyon. We got up there and we realized where stuff was coming up was Government Canyon, which we'd seen before. But it took being up on that ridge to go, oh my God, that stuff's definitely coming up from just on the other side of those mountains for Government Canyon. And we had these giant green not even lasers, like giant green cannon lights come on behind the hills back there and shoot up in the sky and like go back and forth, and then they'd shut off, and then there'd be sightings. Like we're going, is the base calling them in? Like giving them a light? I mean, and these were giant green beams of light. And I had a green laser at the time. We shot the laser into the trees so you can see what my laser looks like, and then you realize these are these giant green beams.
Is that one to the right?
So the one that was dripping down, you know, it did go behind.
Oh, good. You went down? Good.
Yeah.
So then we saw, oh,
There's one going.
now there's a guy going up. See those two right next to each other? So straight above, if you see enchantment, go straight up, just above enchantment, there's two moving right next to each other.
Actually,
Perfect little double.
yeah.
Well, there's more than two.
This is either an insane amount of taxpayer money being wasted, or it's beautiful.
Yeah. How about a combination of both?
Yeah.
All right, Melinda, I need to get Ellie home.
Oh,
So,
okay.
I'm gonna get you these.
Oh, shoot. So, well, you got it. I mean, the only thing we were going to see, there's a big amber light right there, as a matter of fact.
Wow. Yeah, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, because we're well after, what time is it, guys? Well after, yeah. So, you guys, those who will.
So what the hell is going on there? Everything that she said that was going to happen happened. Everything. So she warned us, here's what's going to happen, and it went down like clockwork. And that was the raw footage of that. Let's get to a few questions the viewers have. Hey, you can rewind a little bit. Looks like I'm doing 60 frames a second at 4K on this broadcast, so it's pretty good. It's fun time up there. It's a fun. Dave, are you living up there right now? I thought you were over in Mesa, but Sedona is a beautiful place. The only thing that kind of sucks about it is you don't have a lot of good places to eat. Like I'm just spoiled down here with all this Italian and Mexican food. But this doesn't have to be. This doesn't have to be the mystery that we're seeing with just, look at that. That's 11 o'clock at night, and there's aircraft everywhere. What's to account for that? So we're looking at a lot of man-made stuff. Aircraft, a lot of satellites. So it's all, let's assume it's man-made. You just looked at hundreds of millions of dollars, stuff flying around north of Sedona for nothing. So this is a solvable mystery as far as I'm concerned when it comes to those helicopters, because if it's repeatable and it happens over and over and over, then we can kind of creep in with resources and figure this out. So I'm kind of new to this. I know about Melinda and what she's doing up there. I know Tom Dongo is a researcher up in Sedona. So anything that I'm trying to cover is probably old hat to these researchers. So I'm trying to get up to speed and look at because after I got a little bit of sleep, which wasn't much, I started thinking, this kind of bothered me. There's just stuff moving everywhere. At any one time, there must have been 17, 18 aircraft up there in the sky. This is probably more aircraft that I'm seeing than what I can turn on my cameras right now, or I could turn flight radar on. And we have a hell of a lot of aircraft flying around the Phoenix Valley. It's one of the busiest airports that there is. So why in the hell is this stuff flying around north of Sedona in the middle of nowhere? So anyway, while I'm at that, my buddy here, by the way, it's my birthday tomorrow, turning 55. So it's we're kind of having a fun Friday night tonight. Getting fat again, eating a hell out of a lot of Italian food, man. I need to lay off that shit. But my little buddy here, I seen him sitting in the corner for years, and it's like, why did I take you apart? When that happened, and I looked over at R5, I said, I'll never take you apart again. Not even for heavy duty modification. So I took R2Q5 apart to add a whole bunch of different options and stuff to the front and the back. And it actually video there. It takes two of these controllers to control them, and he would like for you he would like for you to hit that like button. That's what he said. So he's saying hit that like button and subscribe to the 4K Skywatching podcast. There's nothing out there doing live shows all the time. And showing you all kinds of good stuff. So make him happy. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Subscribe to the fucking channel. And he'll be happy. And if you don't, he's going to come for you in your nightmares. So that was a little public service message there from R2Q5. Okay, let's get a few more questions. And yeah, leave your, if you didn't catch the show live, leave your comments below. Let's figure this out. So, I don't know how you do that. I'm not messing with a $1,400 iPhone. There's a video here, but it's not very good. I took the night vision binocular that Leslie had. Melinda, I got her name all screwed up, dyslexic. And I tried to, shoot it with my phone. So then you're like, which one of these three goddamn lenses goes up to that thing? And then you have to hold it without dropping it, recording and kind of get it in focus. And then fuck it, I'm going back to the Luna Optics. But I would like to get something like that. That's one piece of equipment I don't have. You have to be very careful using those. Colleague Dave Mason has 6, 7, 8 pairs of these like Melinda does, and it's consumable. So as you use them, they slowly go to hell. And if you point them at really bright stuff, they go to hell really, really fast. I switched my audio over to this thing, so hopefully it's working out better. I could get a satellite tracker. I think Mick West actually has one of the better, ironically, a piece of software out there. But I didn't have anything because I'm just trying to get all this gear and get everything down. But I got a plan to go back next time, as I will be going back again, probably when there's not, when the moon is like it was now, gone. It's the best time to go. It's affordable machine to amplify sounds underground. Yeah, there's got to be. I've been binge watching Skinwalker Ranch. It's a fun show to watch. I'm glad that we have something where you have scientists like Eric and Travis that are doing these experiments on the weird. There's something weird going on at Skinwalker Ranch. I don't know if it's a lot of UFO activity, but there's something weird going on there. I don't know if nobody does, if they have some alien ship that's buried there or why some of this stuff happens. I just appreciate somebody's actually taking the time and the money to investigate this, because there could be a ripple effect in science of what they learned there could be possibly learned in other places. We have the same type of activity here in Arizona that they have at Skinwalker Ranch. Colleague in here, Arizona Motherlode, he's been in helicopters filming objects going through the mountains in the daytime. We have orbs filmed. The closest orbs I've ever seen, you're going to see next week, or in a few minutes when I show you a preview of some of the best orb footage I've ever seen that our team went out and tried to investigate. So we have a little bit of everything here. We probably have alien abductions. We got Sedona, which is kind of like the public Skinwalker Ranch, where Skinwalker Ranch has invitation only. But if you go to Sedona, and if you should go there once in your life, it's beautiful. You can see weird stuff just like I showed you on a nightly basis. But yeah, we're going to reach around here and find out how we can solve what the hell those helicopters are. Because at least any one time, there's 14, 18, 19 of these helicopters, I'm assuming there. And then it gets to the point you can't tell what's a satellite or an orb or a helicopter. So it almost gets into that New Jersey drone situation where you know what the hell is going on. We can't get to that area physically and look at it. It's illegal to fly drones over Sedona, so you can't just launch a drone and say, go over there and get a close-up. You can't drive in there. You got to hike into that area. it's kind of crazy if you go into certain areas because that's an Army training range. So they're doing obstacle courses, probably live gunfire, and God knows what. So you don't want to get in the wrong place at the wrong time. But I don't know what's going on there, but there's a fun mystery that can be solved. The Beyond Skinwalker Ranch did come through this area, and they went to the Bradshaw area twice. So I haven't binge watched that, so maybe I am behind. So I don't know what they covered. Maybe they covered this helicopter stuff over these mountains. They have the resources to solve this. And the group I work with, I think we could probably do a good job figuring out at least what in the hell are all those helicopters. So Tim, how you doing? You need to come on here sometime. I'd like to have you on and catch up on here. How often are you getting the simultaneous? Fuck if I know. I packed light, man. I didn't bring Geiger counter. I didn't bring any of the cosmic watches back here. I just want to go there and experience it and see what happens. This was part one. This is going to be a Sedona on 4K Skywatching is going to be a multi-part series now. So this is like my own TV show. I don't need to be on TV and all that other stuff. I got my own stuff where I can control everything that goes on here and go out and investigate what the hell is going on in Arizona. Hey, you're welcome. I know, don't you have a birthday like 2 or 3 days from now? So I remember Tim, myself, our parents back in 1969 around December fell in love. And they, did the magic thing and popped out myself and Tim, Sr., who wouldn't meet for 40-something years and then find out that we got a hell of a lot of things in common. Tim's the type of guy, he calls me on the phone and a UAP shows up live. And that's like, fuck, Tim, I got to go. It happened again. So, yeah, thanks. Do we have a spaghetti factory in Phoenix? I got to figure that out. If not, I'm probably going to go to Olive Garden again. Yeah, thanks. Hit that like button. Next Friday is Chris Donald. I've been wanting to get him in here for a long time. He's got really good orb footage. I'm going to show you a preview at the end of the show. And we're going to show all that stuff. We're going to get into portals that he's filmed, flying humanoids that he's filmed. This guy's a UFO magnet. He came over to my house and one of my cosmic watches stopped working. I mean, it was working, but all the muons weren't going through it. It was going through a second device. And, yeah, strange things happen with Chris. So, yeah. I'm also going to be on Spaced Out Radio, I think on coming back on there July 5th. And before I forget, if you're watching, the person who emailed me that footage from Lake Tempe, answer the goddamn email back, bro. See, there's a guy who sent me, viewer watching, sent me some footage that was shot over Tempe Lake on June 2nd. And I was looking at this footage, it's 2 clips. They're in the daytime. They're shot at 6:30. And he has what looks like a sphere hovering, or not hovering, but we can't tell the 12-second video, but it's in the sky. He taped it on a phone. He's on top of what we call here is A Mountain. It's a mountain named A because there's a letter A on it. And it's not very high. You can hike it. It's only 200-300 feet or something. So this Skywatcher was, I guess, hiking the mountain. He didn't tell me, but I figured out his location. And he is above the State Farm buildings and the whole metropolitan area in downtown Tempe. And he points up and he says, I think that's a sphere. So we have these bug type spheres next to the airport here in Sky Harbor. And in one shot, the very end, you can see a plane landing that's an American, because I can tell by the painting on the tail. So this orb is above the planes coming in, and by this time, when they're over Tempe Lake, they're going about 170 knots, and they're about maybe 1,500 feet, and they're very, very close to landing. So this is in the sky at the same time, actually just above the plane. So we have like what they've been talking about with Ryan Graves. This is an airline safety issue. I mean, but dude, answered the email and blew his footage up to 8K. I started looking at it. Answer me back and we'll see. Maybe I'll play the footage for the viewers. It's very interesting footage. So thanks for sending that in. And see, if you send your footage in, it doesn't mean I'm automatically going to just pop it on the show. I'm going to do due diligence and look into your footage as best as possible. Try and contact you, see if you want to talk about it on the show, go public, however you want to do it. Then I'm going to take your video, and if it's really good, and process it. What I've been doing lately is taking some of these videos and converting them up to 8K, because I have a system that can play 8K videos, and then processing, stabilizing it, and zooming in, and trying to get more details out of the video using different type of licensed software. It's very expensive. That I have that I just send back to you, and then you can keep it. Do whatever you want with it. If you want to bring it on the show, great. If you want to take it to another podcaster and put it on his show, that's great too. Just thanks for sending in the footage. I keep it secret, and just process it and give it back to the viewer, because the average viewer sitting here doesn't have like $2,000 worth of different various softwares to put this stuff through. They just happen to see something, they capture their phone or something, and if you want to send it in, I'm the guy to send it to. Now, let's get back to a bit here on Sedona. That is the wrap-up of the raw footage that came out of the camera. I want to go back and film it properly. And I came up with a bit of a plan to do that. Now, first of all, let's take a look at Sedona right now, and let's look at this area. So this is Sedona on Google Maps here. This is the airport. And I'm going to give you a basic area or a rundown of about where we did the Skywatch. So looking at Sedona, we went off over to a city park. And then when we're looking, so this is north here, this is the I-17, and I'll zoom out so you guys can see. This is Phoenix down here. So we drove up here, and the objects we're seeing are over this area here. Okay, there we go. So let's go into this area. Let's look at what could be going on here. So south of Flagstaff here, we have Sedona, and there's all the red area. So the mountains that we're looking at are kind of a northwest direction like this. So what could account for all those aircraft that we see in the sky? Well, over here we have a Prescott Airport with small Cessnas. Okay, that's about it. Up here, this area you cannot go to. This is all military range up here. Now here's the juicy part. Let's get to the good juicy part up here. So if we look over here, this is Camp Navajo Army Training Center over here off of, it's just north, or it's just west of Flagstaff is over here. And when you look, there's no, so I was looking for a helicopter infrastructure here. There isn't an airport here that I can see. Now, this map might be updated. They did renovate this. Maybe they did. And maybe they have a helicopter base. Always assume that you don't have you're missing a key piece of information, and you could be wrong. But when you look around here, this is very interesting. I didn't know this before. You look around here, look at all these. They have these are called igloos. And you can see some of them aren't used anymore. But looks like some of them are. And when you look around, Jesus Christ, this takes up a lot of land. And they're all over the place. I mean, there's as many of these igloo weapons areas or ammunition bunkers over here as there are planes in the sky. But what you're not seeing is infrastructure for helicopters here. What you're seeing is, it looks like they had ammunition here at some point. What kind? I don't know. But this is the Army Training Center, and they probably do joint stuff with other branches of the military. But I can't see an airport here. All I can see is weapons, ammo storages and whatnot. Now, I don't think they... we do know that whatever this NHI is, they love nukes for some reason. I don't think there's nukes there. There could be, but wouldn't you think if they had nuclear weapons here, that they would have fucking high security up the ass, and you could, because this area you could hike into if you're young and healthy. You could hike in there from the south. There's trails. You can take a 4-wheel drive dune buggy in there. So I don't think it's nukes. I don't know. I'm just kind of, and I'm sure Tom Dongo and Melinda Leslie have already kind of thought this over. So this area up here could account, I guess, for dozens and dozens of helicopters, but there's no helicopter infrastructure there. And then we have Prescott Airport. So when we go to the ABSD exchange, what we're looking at right here is Sedona Airport right there. And let me flip this over. Here we go. All right, so this is Sedona Airport right here, and this is pause. So I'm going to hit play, and I'm going to speed this up. So you can go look at replay on here for free. So up over in this area is where, about 7 miles northwest is where we should be seeing lots of helicopters, and we ain't seeing jack. There's nothing. We should be seeing a ton of air traffic. So I'm wondering, are we seeing an optical illusion? Is there just air traffic coming and going, and but you see they're going, some of them are going over Sedona, but it should be all over here in this Red Rock Secret Mountain. That's funny. There's a secret base. Where's it? That's Secret Mountain. And I think there's even one called Government Mountain, according to Melinda. So there should be a ton of helicopters here, and there's nothing to account for this. Nobody's flying over this area. What the hell are all those objects that we just saw? So from there, I mean, we can scoot ahead in time-wise, but there's nothing ever there. This is a nightly thing. These things are going to be up in another hour or two over that same place. And then if we check flight radar, you can do pretty much the same thing. So over here in this mountain area here is where we should see helicopter. Like you see, you don't see any of that. So we can come over here and look at the Prescott Airport. Now, could it be these? Well, we might have seen one or two of them. Well, where the hell's the 14? And we're seeing helicopters. We're seeing stuff that hovers. So these are just Cessnas that are coming in, and they're basically pilots who are going to become one-day commercial pilots, and they're burning up their hours so they have enough hours so they can become a commercial pilot. This happens all the time at the Mesa Airport south of me too. So what's going on? There's nothing on the ADSB exchange. There's nothing on flight radar that can account for where in the hell are all these helicopters supposed to be up here? What the fuck? What the fuck? So what do you guys think? You're probably like, oh, it's helicopters. They're not coming from Luke Air Force Base. And the debunkers, who got minds made of mush and dog shit, they don't even investigate this. So I want to do a proper investigation of this with the team. First, they need to see this for themselves. They need to go up there and see the sheer amount of stuff that's flying around. And then I kind of came up with a loose plan. We'll look at that in a second. Yeah, Tim's probably, I think he's turning 55 in a couple of days too. If you got stuff, send your stuff in. We'll take a look at it. So let's look at possible plan here. All right, so this is the GPS position. So when I was looking at those mountains where you see all those lights, I'm looking at 313 northwest. That's where we're pointing. We're not pointing directly north of Sedona. We're pointing not west towards the Prescott Airport. We're pointing northwest. So that's important to do to get that position in there, so we know when we go back, we can do that again. Now, what I also did was I put up a grid. So this is the position from 313 that we're looking at. And these are the type of mountains. And man, Melinda is just great. I didn't know how she was this heavy duty of a skywatcher, but anyway, she pointed out everything that we needed to know real quick, and how far away these mountains are and everything. She's good. So I'm thinking of going back, and this area here that says D4, D5, D6. So I'm thinking take a P1000, hit P4, P900, or D5, Luna Optics, I fucked up and didn't put 6 up there. See, I need to get my eyes fixed. But this should be 6. So D6, you see what I mean. And then keep these, what I want to do is keep these on a tripod and just get that entire area. We need to see, are these truly helicopters? And we can do that with tripods by just watching how long that thing is sitting there. And then trace the path of it later with time lapse and see where did it go. So we can figure out how long is it in the sky, approximately how much fuel would it have left, because it's going to need to go land, you know, and when it takes off, where is it heading to? Are they all heading to the same direction? Because that's where that secret base is going to be, or wherever the hell they came from, for whatever all that choppers and whatnot is that you don't see on flight radar or the ADS-B exchange at all. So the first step is to just kind of map this out, and that's going to require some different gear or various amounts of gear used properly. So here is kind of the area where I would film above the mountains, or everybody pick kind of a spot. So let's look in this kind of mystery here. Let's determine, why are dozens of military helicopters operating northwest of Sedona? Their time aloft, fuel usage, and possible origins. That's what I'm interested in finding out where are these helicopters from. So we're getting a hypothesis based on the evidence and logistics of going back on part 2, which will be coming up probably in about a month. We'll set up a data collection via tripods and other various things. So we're going to get 4K cameras on a tripod, begin entire recording of the entire night. We're going to timestamp each helicopter, like helicopter 1, helicopter 2, helicopter 3, and so on, and then figure out how they fly around. The final direction is probably where they're heading back. It's probably where they came from. So we can take a look at the flight pattern. So you got to have some type of plan put together to figure this out. The tools needed are going to be cameras that can see really well at night, see the grid position, C1, 4, and so on, like I just showed you. You can bring the ADS-B exchange and make your own with, I showed you on 2 episodes back, that you could make your own with a thumb drive and hook it up to a laptop. And then you have your own real-time thing. Are they broadcast in friend or foe? That's one thing I'd like to know. Nikon P900 I have, and a Nikon P1000 on a tripod. Also a Sony 3D camera, which will be used to film wide shots, so we can later see with the grid what they're doing. I have 5 military night vision tubes that came out of tanks. They're all converted to be filmable. So I would take at least 2 tubes, 3 tripods plus laptop, so we can get the internet going, and a digital SDR and RF software and antennas, so we can listen to military comms or local air traffic control. You think that these military, since they're flying around with their lights on and not off, they might be using their transponder. So at least 2 or 3 camera operators for all that gear. And then some of the easy stuff to do is to check the airports in Prescott and watch that activity. Cross-check the video with what we get from Prescott and flights to rule out optical illusion. That we're just filming, Cessnas doing circles in the background, trying to up their flight hours. After the first documented sighting, which will be part 2, and film it right, then we'll look through that and say, do we have any type of conclusion here yet? Do we need to go to part 3? Cross-check with Camp Navajo with their flights. We're probably not going to find anything, if they even have any flights. So this is going to take multiple trips up north. It's going to take some gas in the tanks, and the wherewithal of people who want to solve this or get close to seeing what our tax dollars are going for. So repeat the Skywatch by splitting up into at least 2 teams, possibly 3. We'll have another team, let's say on part 3. This is the tentative plan, over near the Prescott Airport, and then see, are you seeing all the goddamn helicopters and all the stuff from the Prescott area? Because they should be able to see this. And then set up Skywatch near the Navajo camp. So different steps to, instead of just pointing northwest and recording again, then we're going to want to get another camera from like the 3 o'clock position, the 9 o'clock position, and film this way while we're going this way, so we can kind of narrow down where are these aircraft. Another clever way, I take out my little thermal buddy here, because this thing can tell us some distance. This can see aircraft at about 35,000 feet, but it cannot see satellites, which is great. Because if we, mount this on tripod with the tripod mount and record directly into, say, laptop, then we'll get thermal signatures of these objects. And the satellites won't be picked up at all. So this is a way to weed out what's flying around. It picks up on thermal. It's not an orbit. It's not a satellite. It's either an orb or a mundane object. So this is going to be another tool that's going to go into future Skywatches to try and figure out what the hell is going on up there. There's a lot of activity. So that's another tool, sensor that will go up there to try and figure this out on a next section. So audio's low. I think it's jacked up. I'm going to mess with the audio a little bit more. Yeah, there's new P1100. Somebody told me about that. I think it was Truth Seeker, the guy above you. I haven't messed with it. I don't know if I'm going to buy yet another one. We got so many hands. I did figure out what was wrong with my skin, which is good news. Everywhere my skin was ripped up and falling off again is where I had suntan. So it wasn't the chlorine, because my white ass does not have the skin disease on it. It's on everywhere I'm tan. So I stopped going outside in the sun for long periods of time, or I cover up. Now my skin's healing. So I have turned into a fucking vampire. I have now the real life disease that every person that listens to Robert Smith wishes they had. Is they can't go out in the sun, or if long-term exposure, skin falls off. It's like Near Dark in the movie in real life. Sucks to have it. At least I lived most of my life without it, because I can't float around the pool anymore. Fuck. So anyway, it's update on that. So let's get into what's going to happen next week. Next week, I got a lot of editing to put together. Next week is a show with Chris Donnell, and he's filmed The Flying Humanoid a couple of times. This guy's a magnet. Great guy. Every single time I've went to his house to set up a Skywatch, something was in the air or something. So some advice. God, there's not much I can give Melinda. She's a top tier Skywatcher. She is not a rookie right out the gate. She knows the difference between satellites, orbs, and all this. She could teach Jake Barber and his crew a thing or two about what's a balloon, what's a bird, and whatnot. But anyway, body cameras. That's about the only thing I can tell her. She isn't a camera person like me, a lot of cameras. But if we started being like the cops, and when you show up at a Skywatch with a body cam, then these goddamn jokesters, trolls, UFOs couldn't mess with you, because sometimes when you're setting up your gear and plugging everything in, you go, oh, there it is. Look, everybody, it's right there. Well, as soon as I get this plugged in, I'm going to record you. And, you just hold on a minute. They don't. As soon as you get everything plugged in, poof, they were gone. So body cameras can help with that. This happened at Skywatch last night. We were waiting for Melinda to finish her talk, turn everything on, and I was looking, and I saw this thing go a flash. Now, I've seen that on other people's videos of Skywatches, but I haven't recorded that yet. So I just thought, it's like a cat with a bird in front of it. Just, I got to get that goddamn bird. So I was like, I got to start recording. So I said, F it, like usual. Picked up my Luna optics and started recording. So that thing is, if it starts flashing, what the hell is up in the sky flashing? UAP. Satellites don't do that. So that's some weird shit last night. So thanks, Melinda, for taking us out. I'm sure we're going to run into each other again. So let's let me show you a bit of what Chris has. This is a blue orb that he's filmed with an iPhone a year ago. This thing is about 60 feet from the camera. And this is a video where I've stabilized the object and zoomed in on it. And this is the closest orb footage I've ever seen. And I've seen thousands of clips. Whatever this object is, it can turn blue, it can turn green, it can turn different colors. That's a weird flash. I'll have to look into what happened there. This slowed down a bit. So this is what these things are that they talk about on Skinwalker Ranch, but they can't seem to get recorded properly. This is recorded properly. We're seeing what looks like a white type of energy. It looks like it's about the size of your thumb. And around it is this blue shield. And I'm going to redo this video, I think, in 8K and look at this again and get some better, a little better imagery of it. But there's something around this. And to tell you the truth, I'd be scared to touch it. I think in the Skinwalker Ranch book, they were talked about these blue orbs, and the dog chased him and caught him, and it turned the dog into a puddle of goo. So I would not recommend touching these things and turning it into a puddle of goo. So I don't know what the hell this is, but this is filmed very well. It's close up to the camera. This thing is almost hypnotic, where you put the right music with this thing, and you're going to go into a trance. A very good capture. And if it's better, I think it's better footage than some of the stuff I've seen, Corbell put out and some of the other stuff that you've seen online. It's very interesting. We looked into it to try and see if that was man-made. So that's in the Apple TV series that Clive Christopher did. Aliens Uncovered, Observe and Report Part 1 has all these videos. So that's out. And then Part 2, we went to Chris's house to investigate and did ground research on that. So we did field research on that. So I'm always doing something. I always got something busy. I did finish the construction. I needed an add-on for the radar. And what I did was I put a piece of aluminum bar on it that sticks out. And I mounted the camera on that bar. And then I put a heading indicator on it. So now when the radar is on and I turn it, the world turns with the radar, but it unlocks this feature, which is like an anti-collision type thing that they have on boats, so you don't run into other stuff. So it is detecting stuff moving, and that's what I'm going to try and use on the UAP and see if does this track something moving. So I'm waiting. Now in the FCC, I checked my license status yesterday. It says pending. So there's a few rules that they'll have with this. I guess a piece of paper. It says I'm licensed to use this for a couple of years, subject to FCC inspection if they want to come over and look at it. And I'll have to keep logs of when I use it. So logs are going to be the video of what you see on the screen. So the thing is sitting there. And it's right now push button, a couple of buttons. I can turn it on, start recording. Skywatch with the radar. Live. Who the fuck is doing that? Nobody. Everybody should be doing something like this. If it doesn't work, I'll try passive radar, like the Kraken. All right, so short video here. Outro is going to be us getting out of that place and heading back home. And the drive is a little bit dodgy at night. So I'm Tom King. This is 4K Skywatching. I want to thank you for watching. Hit that like and subscribe button. This is a unique channel. I have guests on from time to time. We do live Skywatches. Next Friday is going to be the Chris Donnell episode. And then after that, I'm going to turn it on live, have the cameras on. We're going to look around for UAP. We're going to watch 4th of July explosions and whatnot. And then I believe check Spaced Out Radio with Rob G on Saturday, July 5th. And I'll be on there talking about all the stuff I'm doing. So thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next Friday. I'm out.